published online via Facebook. To those present in the meeting today, by participating in this public meeting, you are consenting to your image, voice and comments being recorded and published. The Mayor and/or the General Manager have the authority to pause the live stream if comments or debate are considered defamatory or otherwise inappropriate for publishing. Participants are advised that they may be subject. Sorry, I'm having some feedback. Participants may be advised that they may be subject to legal action if they engage in unlawful behaviour or commentary. I'll call for apologies, for which there are none.
You can save it at the end though, can't you? Hey? You can save the Zoom meeting at the end.
I'm sorry, I've got a bit of feedback somewhere. Has someone not got their mic on? Councillor Page, you might need to turn your mic off if you've got someone there or someone in the background.
There's nobody in the background, and
I can hear. I'm just having trouble with voices, so.
Madam Mayor, there's no one here with me.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, the prayer. Can I ask Councillor Adams to say the prayer, please?
Sorry, you are on mute. There we go.
Almighty God, we ask you to invoke your blessings upon this council. Direct and prosper our deliberations to the advancement and true welfare of the people of the council area, our state and Australia. Amen.
Thank you, Councillor Adams. Councillor Gallagher, could you please say the Acknowledgement of Country?
Yes, I wish to acknowledge the traditional owners upon the land upon which we meet and pay our respect to those elders, past, present and emerging.
Thank you, Councillor Gallagher. Move to item 5, the minutes for confirmation. Do I have a mover for the minutes? Moved by Councillor Adams. Seconder, Councillor Gallagher. Any speakers against? No, I'll put the minutes. All those, Councillor Nolan, are you speaking against? Sorry, I'll just move to Councillor Nolan first.
I'm sure Councillor Adams will just accept a couple of small typos fixed. I'll read what they are. Is that all right, Madam Mayor? I'll just bring them up. I just had trouble getting that button to work, but here we go. On page 12, when there was a casting vote by the Mayor, it would be a more correct order of events to list who voted for and against, and then the casting vote of the Mayor. That's page 12. And then on page 15, there's a amendment to point 5. It's just a simple typo that says not, which should say note. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Adams, you're accepting those little typos?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Thank you, councillors. A unanimous vote. Move to disclosures of interest. I'll go first. In confidential, the Merrill Minute, item 2, the Merrill Minute 12/20, page 7. It's pecuniary interest. I'm a board member of Local Government New South Wales, and I will leave the meeting while this has been discussed. Are there any other disclosures of interest?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Item 9, I'd like to declare a pecuniary interest and a conflict of interest. I'll leave the room.
Thank you, councillor. And the reason?
I just said the reason.
You said it's a pecuniary interest and you leave, but Under the Act, we now have to put the reasons. Like I said, I'm a board member of Local Government New South Wales.
Right. Well, I work with the solar groups in Broken Hill, not just one but others, and that's what it's in regard to.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor. Have you captured that, Lisa?
Yes, have it, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Could I ask a question, Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councillor.
You have declared an interest in a motion you have moved.
I haven't moved the motion, Councillor.
The mayoral minute is automatically your motion. A mayoral minute is by, under the Act, moved by you automatically, even though someone else moved it. You've put it on the agenda,
yes,
and then declared an interest in it.
I can place an item under, check the Act, and as I know, I can place an item on the agenda, and it is a requirement that the recruitment of the GM goes through me, but I don't have to, I can declare an interest here.
Oh, I think I'd get that checked if I was you.
I've had it checked. Thank you, Councillor. I will move now. The mayoral minute will hold over to confidential. The notice of motion for which there are nil is item 8. Item 9 is rescission motions for which there is nil. And item 10 is delegates motions for which there is nil. We'll move to item 11, reports. Item 11, item 1, the Broken Hill City Council report number 151/20, dated the 16th of November. This is the public presentation of the 2019-2020 financial statement. Do I have a mover for this? Councillor Brown, seconder. Councillor Adams. Councillor Brown, would you like to speak to this motion? Councillor Brown, would you like?
Yeah, sorry, Madam Mayor. No, I don't wish to speak at this stage.
Thank you. Speakers against? Before I take speakers against, I'll ask the General Manager if he'd like to comment on the financial statements. It's one of the most important documents and reports that Council can have. Mr. General Manager?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. No, nothing specifically, Madam Mayor. Obviously, as read in the business paper, obviously got some deadlines, and I think overall, congratulations to the staff on being able to meet those deadlines. It's the COVID and the implications that that's had on the business has meant a couple of times recasting that. We weren't able to have auditors present on site, so it had to be done externally, and our staff worked in really well with the auditors to get the information that they required, and I think a really good effort. So congratulations to Jay and the team on bringing it together.
Thank you, Mr. General Manager. If there's no further discussion, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? And against. So in favour, Councillor Page, Councillor Nolan, Councillor Cool, Councillor Gallagher, Councillor Clark, Councillor Adams, Councillor Brown and Mayor Turley. Against, Councillor Allgate and Councillor Kennedy. Motion's carried. Thank you, councillors. We'll move to item 2, Broken Hill City Council report number 152/20, page 136. This is the draft annual report. I'll just wait to the GM to clear the votes. Do I have a mover for this report? Moved by Councillor Adams, seconder. Councillor Nolan. Councillor Adams, would you like to speak to the report? think you're on mute, councillor.
Still on mute?
No, good.
It's a very long and comprehensive report, Madam Mayor. I congratulate the staff for putting it together. I would suggest that maybe we could have like a photo shot or something of it to get out to the people, because it is an extremely long report, and it would be a shame if the people don't get the gist of how hard this council has worked for this.
Thank you, councillor. Councillor Nolan, you had your hand up next. Did you have a question? You're on mute, councillor.
That hand was still up from seconding. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kennedy, are you speaking against?
I'll move an amendment, Madam Mayor.
What's the amendment, councillor?
I move that, 1 second.
Just go slowly for Lisa tonight.
Just grab the page number, 136.
126.
I move 1, 2 and 3 and 4 as is written, with the alteration in the report at page 185, where it talks about legal proceedings, statutory requirements. 217, so this doesn't have to be in the amendment. I'm just putting down what my amendment will be. The amendment will be to include, as per 217 of the Local Government Regulations A3, which states a summary of the amounts incurred by the council during the year in relation to legal proceedings taken by or against the council, and including amounts, costs, expenses paid or received by way of out-of-court settlements, and a summary of the state of progress of each legal proceedings, and if it has been finalised, the result. So my amendment is to page 185 that council put in legal proceedings, or each of the legal proceedings council has dealt with over the 12-month period, and whether they have been finalised or not.
Do you have a seconder for your motion?
Second.
Do you have a seconder for your motion? Councillor Allgate, thank you. Councillor Kennedy, do you want to speak to your motion?
Yes, as I just read out, 217A3 of the Local Government Regulations is quite specific and quite clear, and I've looked at just about every other council in New South Wales and what they put down as far as a summary of legal proceedings. It includes as each action taken, whether the matter was finalised, what it was for, what was going on. The reality is there's been a number of finalised actions, one being the Ombudsman's report, which has not been stated. The last 3 years of annual reports have stated ongoing. We have had several legal proceedings that have definitely resulted and finished and been finalised, and it states quite clearly in 217A3 of the Local Government Regulations a summary of the state of progress of each of the legal proceedings. That includes the cost of each of the legal proceedings, not an overall amount combined. So I think it is incumbent on councillors to make sure that we follow the regulations, as was stated several times in this statement of financial statements. In the previous report, the auditor made it quite clear that councillors have an obligation to ensure that there is no misstatements either by fraud or by error, and that the auditor can only go on what councillors provide him with. It's up to us to make sure that financial and annual reports are correct, and by councillors allowing that to be left out would be a breach of the regulations, which is a breach of the Act. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kenny. Is there any discussion? No discussion. I'll put, sorry, Councillor Page, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
In regard to the...
In favour? Against? For the motion, Councillor Nolan, Councillor Cool, Councillor Gallagher, Councillor Clark, Councillor Adams, Councillor Page, Councillor Brown, Mayor Turley. Against, Councillor Allgate, Councillor Kennedy. Thank you, councillors. I declare that carried. Can I say to anybody in the community, please take time to read the report. Can I acknowledge the hard work that our staff have done? There has been a lot of actions in this report. It is a lot of work that our staff should be proud of and our community. So I thank them all for their contribution. We'll now move to item 3, report number 153/20, Code of Conduct Complaint Statistical Annual Report, page 305. Can I have a mover for the report? Moved by Councillor Brown, seconder, Councillor Adams. Councillor Brown, would you like to speak to the report?
No, Madam Mayor, it's self-explanatory. I don't think there's any need to comment.
Okay, speakers against? No speakers against. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? I declare that motion carried unanimously. Oops, thank you very much. Move to item 4, the Broken Hills City Council report number 154/20. This is the investment report for October. Can I have a mover, please?
Can I have a page number, please, Madam Mayor?
309. I have a mover for the motion, Councillor Gallagher. Seconder, Councillor Clark. Councillor Gallagher, would you like to speak to there's hands up everywhere now. Would you like to speak to the report?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Speakers against, Councillor Kennedy.
No, not speaking against, Madam Mayor. Just a quick question, if I could.
What's your question, Councillor?
Again, on page 310, again, the domestic waste management reserves are lower than it was several months ago, 6 months ago. It's only 1.4 million. I did ask the question and was told that it would start to rise again, but it's risen a little, but it's risen nowhere near to the level that it was before. And our grant situation is still quite low. When can we expect to get the 20 or 25 odd million that's been forecast in the budget that we adopted?
Mr. General Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The state government have just recently announced a Growing Local Economies or Regional Economies Growth Fund, so we'll be putting applications in there. And round 4 of the Building Better Regions at a federal level is just, or is about to open again, and we'll be in for that, of course. And we're currently in for a round of Resource for Regions money, about 1.9 mil, and there's a couple of other that just escaped my memory right now. But yes, certainly that's the bulk of that figure Councillor Kennedy's just mentioned.
And for waste, Mr. General Manager?
I didn't hear it. Was there a question on that? I didn't get a question.
Yes, Councillor Kennedy, do you want to repeat your question about waste?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I would. The waste reserve is down to 1.4 million, down from almost $5 odd million 6 months ago. I asked the question 2 meetings ago and was told that the money would go back up to pre going down levels by the October meeting. It hasn't gone back up significantly. We are now only 1.4 million and we're into November. Where's the money?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Before I just refer to the CFO, I think it would probably have something to do with the rates, the slowness of the rates coming in, but I'll just get that confirmed by Mr. Nankerville.
Mr. Nankerville.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Through you to Councillor Kennedy, you notice in the financial statement year ending 30 June 2020, we have 2.7 million in that domestic waste reserve. The waste compactor that council purchased came in early August, so that amount of money came out there. And as per the General Manager's comments, the 15% rates outstanding, which is significantly higher than what it was last year, is contributing to a little bit of slowness in that money coming through for domestic waste. Again, end of November is the next rates, the next rates instalment is due. It should slightly increase then again, but the real struggle for us at the moment is to be able to collect those outstanding rates and bring that money through, which is also for domestic waste.
And I think the fact that we had made a decision to help all businesses by waiving interest probably is contributing, and the COVID is contributing to the slowness of paying of the debt, which covers those other things that was raised. So thank you, Mr. Nankerville, and thank you for organising a site visit for the waste compactor. It was certainly interesting, if not hot out there. So we've got Councillor Kennedy. Did you have another question?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, this is also a question on the waste. And a few people in the community have asked me, and this will impact some bit on the council. People's vouchers. People want to know if they are able to carry over last year's vouchers to the next financial year, so that at least they can incur or combine the vouchers from 1 year to the next, at least for the 2-year period. Can we look at that, Madam Mayor?
I understand you can't pass them over to the following year, but you can share those that you own within the year if you're not.
I was just asking, can we as a council look at doing that, Madam Mayor? Just to you, I was asking you, could we look at that?
I'm always willing to look at anything. So we'll take that on notice. But it's good to see that people aren't using the vouchers. Good to see that people aren't using the vouchers. Thank you, Councillor. If there's no further discussion, just checking, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimous. Thank you, councillors. We'll move to item 5, page 322, report number 155/20. This is the adoption of the draft investment policy. Do I have a mover? Councillor Nolan. Seconder? Councillor Brown. Councillor Nolan, do you want to speak to the policy? You're on mute, Councillor. Unmute yourself. Thank you.
Yes, briefly. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have been pleased to see the adjustments that have been made to this policy. I believe our Chief Financial Officer is acted very strategically, given the nature of circumstances that have happened this year since financial headwinds followed by COVID. The changes that have been made in this policy lower our risk and allow us flexibility to move money where it needs to be moved and to keep a decent amount on hand for paying bills. More to the point, it protects us from more volatile investments that we might otherwise be tempted to make, including those made by T Corp. So we've chosen to, even though T Corp would be really, really happy with looking after 100% of our surplus funds, we're not. This gives us the flexibility we need, and meanwhile, protect ourselves from anyone less than A class or A rating. You know, we have AAA, AA and so forth. Anything less than A. So I think it's a really strong move forward, and I compliment our Chief Financial Officer for this policy. I believe we should vote for it. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Speakers against? No speakers against. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? And against? I had my phone on mute. I'll read that again. In favour, Councillor Page, Councillor Cool, Councillor Gallagher, Councillor Clark, Councillor Brown, Councillor Allgate, Councillor Adams, Councillor Nolan, Mayor Turley, and against is Councillor Kennedy. Thank you, councillors. We'll move now to item 6, the report number 156/20, page 341, Draft Code of Practice Closed Circuit Television System Program Policy for Public Exhibition. Do I have a mover? Councillor Adams. Seconder, Councillor Cool. Councillor Adams, do you want to speak to the motion?
Not really. It's an addition to a policy already in place, and it's important. It's an important addition, Madam Mayor. So that's really all there is to say about it.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Nolan, you have your hand up. Do you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. It's simply a question. The additional security cameras installed, are they currently active?
Mr. General Manager.
Yes, thanks, Madam Mayor. Yes, they are currently active at the animal shelter, yes.
So then, through you, Madam Mayor, I do have a question. Why we put in extra cameras that are not in our policy and then adjust the policy afterwards? Should we not adjust the policy and then activate the CCTV?
Mr. General Manager.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. No, I think it would be the short answer. I mean, we've got a policy across the city that has confirmed the use of CCTV. When we add an additional site, obviously for security, that becomes that broader policy of utilising CCTV has already been adopted. When we add another site to it, obviously for safety, the health and risk and wellbeing and safety of the occupants there, it's just a question of tinkering with the policy or adding it to the policy, unless of course, Councillor, you're suggesting that we don't have CCTV out there, in which case we could take it down and then not have to vote on this.
Well, actually, through you, Madam Mayor, I wouldn't suggest any such thing, but it does seem rather odd that we put the cart before the horse. Policy should drive operations, not operations drive policy. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, the policy council has set is to utilise closed circuit TV. That's the policy council's adopted, and this was part of the tender process that went out, the utilisation of CCTV. It's now up and operational, so I probably can't be any more explicit than that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kennedy, are you speaking against?
Madam Mayor, I think that was the comments from the General Manager against Councillor Nolan were quite unfair. First off, we are moving a motion to accept these cameras out at the dog pound, so it is part of the policy. It's part of the policy that we've set. And then the General Manager goes on to say, is the councillor considering we don't have cameras out at the pound? Now the councillor could be considering that. He isn't, but to make those statements, I think, is highly inappropriate and very dismissive of Councillor Nolan, and I'm quite disappointed in the comments.
Thank you, Councillor. I note that. I'll put the motion if there's no debate. All those in favour? Against? Against? Thank you. It's passed unanimously. Unanimous. Thank you, councillors. Move to item 7, report number 157/20, page 354, the draft cemetery management policy. Do I have a mover for this? Councillor Adams. Seconder. Councillor Clark. Councillor Adams, do you want to speak to this policy?
It's just a wording change, Madam Mayor. It's fine. Thanks very much.
Thank you. If there's no debate, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Just waiting for Councillor Clark. Thank you. That's passed unanimous. It's a lovely meeting tonight. Thank you, councillors. We'll move to item 8, the Broken Hill City Council report number 158/20, page 367, the draft heritage strategy, moved by Councillor Brown. Seconder, Councillor Adams. Councillor Brown, do you want to speak to the motion?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I would like to move the recommendations as printed with an additional point 4 to read that a working group be re-established to investigate and progress in conjunction with the Office of Environment and Heritage and the mining companies, the retention of critical mining infrastructure as an essential part of Broken Hill's history and future tourism opportunities.
Thank you. And Councillor Adams, you second that motion. You're happy with that inclusion?
Certainly am, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Brown, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Councillor Adams and I, some years ago, in fact, it's probably almost 10 years ago, were involved in a working group which investigated in quite some detail the large number of heritage items or potential heritage items that are owned by the mining companies, and I believe that this whole issue has been really left since that committee was in operation. I think the need to progress this matter is that much more urgent. I'm aware that the EPA, the requirements for mining companies to rehabilitate mine sites at the end of mining are incompatible really with what we're looking for in the development of our historical the history of mining sites in Broken Hill. So I think this is really important to get that working group re-established. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Brown. Is there any speakers against? No speakers against. I'll put the motion. All those in favour and against? Declared that carried, a unanimous vote. Thank you, councillors. We'll move to item 9, Broken Hill City Council report number 159/20, page 384, the draft renewable energy action plan for public exhibition, moved by Councillor Brown. Seconder, Councillor Clark. Councillor Brown, you've done a lot of work for this. Would you like to speak to this motion?
Yes, Madam Mayor, this is an extremely detailed and complex report. The members of the Key Directions Working Group for Environmental Matters has spent quite a bit of time in consultation with the Ashley Bland from Constructive Energy, and that the councillors were also able to attend the recent discussion about this report. I'm very much in favour of the recommendation because it allows for time for people to consider the detail of this, because I think you really need to look at the detail of this, and we can at the conclusion of the exhibition time, we can look at the real costs of this. But I think it's an excellent report. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, and thank you to you and Councillor Clark for the work. Councillor Kennedy, are you speaking against?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I am. I did go.
Madam Mayor, sorry, excuse me, Madam. Sorry, Councillor Kennedy. Madam Mayor, Councillor Page has declared an interest in this. I'm just going to put in.
Oh, sorry, we'll just move Councillor Page out into the green room.
Sorry, Madam Mayor. Sorry, Councillor Kennedy. Continue.
No, you're right, Jane. Yes. On a whole, the report is quite good, and there is definitely an opportunity there for the community and the council to go some way to generating its own electricity if we can make it financially viable. My concern is 28 days exhibition is not enough time to go on to with the view of accepting the plan, which then results in firstly 30 to 50,000 spend, then another 30 to 50,000, $250,000 to $500,000 spend. There's definitely merit there, and I think that it needs to be nutted out a lot more at both a community and a councillor level, other than what will happen in the 28-day consultation period. I would like to see perhaps Councillor Brown and other people that were heavily involved with it, with some of the people that helped write that report, to actually go out and sell it to the community before we come back and adopt the plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. Is further speakers for the motion? No further speakers for. We'll go to Councillor Brown for a right of reply.
Yes, Madam Mayor. I would have no objection to a public discussion of this report. It is very complex, and I think there is a lot to understand about an amendment. But I certainly think the idea of maybe having an information session for the public is a good one. You know, within this 30-day consultation period. I don't think it needs to be formalised with an amendment, but I think that could be part of the community the presentation to the community of this report.
Good.
Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so what you're saying is that your committee will lead that?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Okay, well, with that, I'll put the motion. All those in favour and against? As waiting for Councillor Kennedy to vote. Councillor Kennedy,
just thinking about it, Madam Mayor. It
Okay.
goes part
I just
way.
don't want to, I'm just going to
Halfway.
do the count soon. I give you a call. Thank you. So in favour, Councillor Mayor Turley, Councillor Brown, Councillor Adams, Councillor Allgate, Councillor Clark, Councillor Gallagher, Councillor Cool, Councillor Nolan, and against is Councillor Kennedy. And we note that Councillor Page is has a conflict of interest, is in the waiting room. Thank you for that. It's passed, councillors. Can I ask Councillor Page to return? Glad to have you back, Councillor Page. That motion was passed and Councillor Brown has given an undertaking to hold a public consultation. So very good success for our community, another success. So thank you for that. Move to item 10, page 448, the Broken Hill City Council report number 160/20. This is the nomination of appointment of a native title manager under the Crown Land Management Act 2016. I have a mover by Councillor Adams, second by Councillor Nolan. Councillor Adams, do you want to speak to the motion?
Madam Mayor, it's self-explanatory.
Okay, is there any speakers against? No speakers against. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. It's a unanimous vote. Thank you, councillors. We'll move to item 11, the Broken Hill City Council report number 161/20, page 450. The community assistance grants awarded for round 2. Do I have a mover, Councillor Gallagher? As the chair, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Clark. Councillor Gallagher, do you want to speak to the motion?
Yes, thanks, Madam Mayor. It's, the report's before you. It's good to see that round 2 allowed everyone who put in an application was given some amount of money, mostly to the amount they requested. It's good to see it's going to non-profit organisations, and also it's good to see that we had an amount left over, and hopefully it'll, after tonight's meeting, it might be passed to the Christmas decorations and the harness racing and the Memorial Oval Committee to assist the harness racing and one of the Aussie Rule Clubs. So it's a very, very good meeting, and I commend this report.
Thank you, councillor. Speakers against? No speakers against. I'll put the motion. All those in favour and against? All those in favour. It was a unanimous vote. Thank you, councillors. Item 12, page 458, report number 162/20, request for reduction of Memorial Oval hire fees due to COVID-19 pandemic public order restrictions on gathering and events. Do I have a mover, Councillor Nolan? Seconder, Councillor Gallagher. Councillor Nolan, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. It's entirely appropriate and just another way we support the community that we stand for. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a mover against? No mover against. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. It's a unanimous vote. Thank you, councillors. Item 13. Page 462, report number 164/20, the minutes of the local traffic committee. Can we clear the screen, Mr. General Manager? Thank you. I have a mover for the motion, Councillor Brown. Seconder. Councillor Brown, do you want to speak to your motion?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I would like to move this with the removal of item 4, which is the item, the point relating to the angle parking outside Pets Tucker, and add an additional point to the recommendations to read that the matter of loading zones in the city be referred to council for comprehensive review and further recommendations. Madam Mayor, I'm moving the last part because I believe that should have been included in the minutes of the Traffic Committee, because it was discussed at length and it was decided by the members of the committee to refer the whole issue of loading zones, which is a real minefield and, you know, very complex, to council, because it goes outside you know, what the Traffic Committee is set up to determine. And in fact, I think that work has started. So I assume that it was an oversight that it wasn't included in the original recommendations. Thanks,
Thank
Madam.
you. I'll just check with Councillor Clark because she did second the motion. Councillor Clark, are you happy with those amendments as a seconder?
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Adams?
Sorry, was I correct, Madam Mayor, in that item 4 has been removed?
Yes.
Was
And
there,
item
was there a
6,
reason?
I'll ask Councillor Brown. And item 6 has been included because the Traffic Committee said it was out of their scope.
Yes, I realise that. It's number 4. I was just wondering what the reason was that was removed, or was it there by mistake?
Yeah, no, I'll go back to Councillor Brown.
Yes, Madam Mayor. The reason for removing that, even though it's a reasonably moderate charge for the additional signs, is because that particular business has suffered quite a bit of inconvenience as a result of the roadworks for quite a lengthy period. Had to relocate their business for that time. So it's really just an acknowledgement, I suppose, of that the experience that that particular proprietor went through.
Thank you.
Councillor Adams, you're happy with that?
Yes, I am. I think that's very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kennedy is speaking against.
No, I'd just like to commend Councillor Brown on her addendums to a motion. I think they're very good.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Declared it carried unanimous. Councillors, this could be a record tonight. I should have said that, touch wood. Item 14, report number 165/20, page 479, action list report. I have a mover. Moved by Councillor LaCour, second by Councillor Nolan. Councillor LaCour, do you want to speak to that?
No, Madam Mayor, it's all in the report.
Thank you. Any speakers against? Not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. It's passed unanimous. Thank you, councillors. Item 13, page 493, questions taken on notice from the previous council meeting. I have a mover for that. Moved by Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Adams. Councillor Brown, do you want to speak to your motion?
Yes, Madam Mayor. In relation to the question that was asked by me at the last meeting, I think that is still something we should pursue. I mean, the situation's changed since that response was, well, it may have changed since that response was given. We may be clearer about the Mildura service, but we still don't know whether those the Adelaide and Mildura services will be permanent if we're out of the trial period. There's been no announcement of that to my knowledge. I think we just need to clarify what the ongoing situation is going to be now that hopefully the borders will be open.
So particularly with Mildura, because there's no flights to Mildura and there is no buses at this stage, so there is no public or transport to Mildura for residents. Okay.
Absolutely.
That. If there's no further discussion, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? It's a unanimous vote, councillors. Item 14 is questions for next meeting arising from the items of this agenda. We have captured most. Was there anything else outstanding? Councillor Nolan?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Is the audio coming through okay?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. My picture disappeared, that was all. I have a question on notice. It was prompted by our very good annual report, where I note on the bottom of page 25 of 60, which is 162 in our papers, that the city's art assets are now approximately 95% digitised, so people can access them online. But sadly, the city's archival assets are not receiving any current funding for digitisation. And of course, it is hard to get that funding. The subject of the question then is that BHP funded the digitisation of the archives by creating a position and funding a position for a digital archivist. And I remember that lady from our meetings. So I will now word the question, just refer to my notes for a moment, excuse me. So BHP funded the digitisation of the archives for a period of 2 years. The question is, what was done? How much was achieved? What do we have to show for it now? And what yet remains to be done that we may seek funding for? Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, councillor. If there's no more questions, we'll move now into confidential. Do I have a motion to move into confidential? Moved by councillor Adams, second by councillor Nolan. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, against, declared it carried. That's passed unanimous. Thank you, councillors. We'll just get the GM to stop the live stream. Thank you. Mr. General Manager, can I ask you to read out the resolutions that were decided during the meeting? So I've got Councillor Clark's got a hand up. Just before we go to that, I'll check with Councillor Clark.
It's okay, Madam Mayor. After the GM reads it out, I'd just like to, well, I might as well do it now. I'd like to give a reminder to everyone, to all the councillors and also to the public that TELUS are making themselves available to consult with the public, to engage with the public, and a reminder, tomorrow is the last day you can do that. So very important, I think, that the public gain that information that they seek. Thank you.
Mr. General Manager.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Item number 1, Broken Hill City Council Report 16620, confidential minutes for confirmation of the ordinary council meeting of the 28th of October. Resolved by council that Broken Hill City Council reports 16620 dated November 10, 2020 be received. And number 2, that the confidential minutes of the ordinary council meeting held 28 October 2020 be confirmed. Item number 2, Madam Mayor, is a mayoral minute, expressions of interest for the recruitment of a general manager. Resolved by council that 1, the mayoral minute number 1220 dated November 16, 2020 be received. 2, the council appoints Blackadder and Associates to undertake the process for recruiting to the position of general manager for the Broken Hill City Council. And 3, that the mayor be authorised to execute contract documents under the seal of council if required to engage a successful executive recruitment firm. And item number 3, Madam Mayor, in relation to tender T23 for the supply of bulk materials 2021 contract, resolved by council that 1, Broken Hill City Council Report 16720 dated November 13, 2020 be received. 2, that EB Mawson and Sons Proprietary Limited be awarded the 12-month contract for supply of aggregate road-based concrete crusher dust and loam to the Broken Hill City Council. 3, that Sammy Bitumen Technologies Proprietary Limited be awarded the 12-month contract for supply of emulsion and cutter oil to the Broken Hill City Council. And 4, that Sammy Bitumen Technologies Vic Proprietary Limited be awarded the 12-month contract for the supply of bitumen to Broken Hill City Council. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Can I thank you all for attending tonight, to the councillors and staff, and I'll close the meeting at, sorry, Lisa, I think you've got the wrong time there, it's 7:45. Oh, is it 7:45? Oh, okay, at 7:45. Thank you everyone for your collaboration tonight.